Hi everyone, welcome back. This is now issue 82 of Build the Future DeLorean. Okay, so as you know, may already know, if you're new to the channel, then you won't. I've got the parts for this delivery and I've got a binder delivered. Unfortunately, they didn't include the magazines. Luckily, someone on the Facebook group has sent me scans of all the build instructions for these 4 issues, so thank you so much for that. What's going to happen is I will have the duplicate issues received on my next delivery, and then my parts, because obviously I won't need all the parts again, I'm going to send my parts back to them so that hopefully those of you who are waiting or upcoming these issues, there should be, well, at least one in stock by the time I've sent mine back. So yeah, there's no point in me having 2 lots, and I don't want to see anyone without an issue. So without further ado, this looks very fiddly, so let's just crack on. Okay, so these are the parts we've got with issue 82. There's lots of cables and tiny screws. We've got some new screws in there. So yeah, really excited to crack on. So I'm going to open the bag, and I do have a parts list for this issue. And I'll be interested to see these parts actually, because I think there's a little bit of a confusion with these cables. So in this pack we've got a cable. I'll get the screws out of the way. We've got some AP, BP, we've had those before, AM, and a brand new screw, silver MP screws. Okie doke. We've also got red storage units, which are these parts here. We've also got silver connectors, and there's 3 of those. And then we move to the cables. Oh, sorry, we've got a tab. So we can assume that we're going to be gripping these cables with that later on. So we've got 3 lots of coloured wires. We've got 9 wires in total. We've got red and yellow times 3. Now, they've got these lovely little eye hooks on the end. And the magazine is saying we should have 2 short ones and 1 that's longer, at least by a centimetre. However, as everyone else, they are all the same size. There's not really anything in them. If I just line those up, they've all been cut to the same length. So it doesn't. Well, hoping it doesn't matter. Okay, so then we've got 3 red and blue wires. Again, they've got the hooks on the end, and again they are all the same size. And then we've also got yellow and blue wires. Same again, all the same size, with connectors on the end. So without further ado, let's crack on. And get all this put together. This is really going to pop, I think, when we start. So we're going to need to get the engine surround that we worked on in issue 81. And there we go, gets a bit of light in here. I'm also going to, right, I'll sort my screwdriver out in a second actually, because we're going to be using AP screws to start with. So what we need to do is these silver connectors, these are going to go in over here, and they're going to go on the outer edge and they are all directional because underneath you've got the screw hole and a locating pin, and you'll see down here you've got locating pins in the corners. So I'm just going to line those up and put them in. It's suggesting that we put them all in and then screw them, but there's no point in that because obviously the others are going to fall out while you're trying to screw them in. So first of all, I'm going to use the AP screws. And then from the other side, just secure that into place through the hole. That is one in. Just going to change my screwdriver just for this. And then the next one, we'll just go below it on the outer edge there. And again, an AP screw. And you can see the silver locating pins just coming through there. Okay, and then we'll do that for the last one on that side, again with another AP screw. And that is the finished part. That's really looking good now, isn't it? Can't wait to get all these wires on and things. But be patient, be patient. Okay. So that's the AP screws done for now. There's one left, so I'm guessing that we're not going to be using these again on this issue. So I'm going to put them back in the bag for now. Okay, the next step is to do the same with these, the red, well, they're called red batteries. And they're going to go next to them. And in the same manner, there's a locating pin in the corner there. So we're just going to pop them in. And then we're going to use BP screws for these, which are slightly wider. And then again from the other side, the screw through there, and you can see the red locating pin just coming through there. That's one in. And that's the second one. And then the last one. And my screws jumped. And there we have those all secured in nicely. That's looking brilliant, isn't it? This bottom one's slightly gone a bit skew-iff. There we go. And they're all in. Okay, so again, I think that is going to be it for the BP screws for this issue. So I'm going to put that away for the moment. I will put them in my screw box later on. Okay, I'm going to turn the digital page. Here we go. So I'm just looking ahead. Right, okay. Okay, so now we're going to be doing the fiddly part. We're going to be playing with the wiring. So I'm going to get my MP screws out. As I say, these are new screws. They've got a tiny head on them. Absolutely tiny. Okay, that is perfect. You just see that they're like needles. Okay, so what we're going to do is working on these batteries just here, and I'm going to see if I can zoom in a little bit for you so you can see what I'm doing. So it says one of the short wires, but I'd say they're all the same size. So we're going to be using the red and yellow wires first, and it's going to go on this edge hole here nearest the silver connectors there. Now I've got OCD, well, not proper OCD, but when it comes to tidiness and neatness, I have to do it right. You'll notice on these it's going to be difficult to see. Maybe I'm going to focus in. Can you see they're crimped? One's got a nice shiny flat surface, the other side is crimped. Now I don't suspect this matters which way it goes on, but because of my OCD I'm going to make sure that the smooth side is always facing upwards. Okay. And that is just my preference. So carefully we're going to hold that onto the hole. And then screw that in. Now what it wants us to do is have it coming straight forward. So obviously naturally it wants to turn with the screw. So I'm not going to do it too tight because we're only working with plastic parts. But my suggestion is when it starts to tighten, bring the cable round, and then when you tighten it, the last little bit, it will then straighten up. And then what it wants us to do, for the moment, is just leave them running down there. And then we're going to do the same for the other two. Again, I'm going to put the crimp side down. There we go. And I'm going to hold the wire over here so that when I tighten, when it gets tight, it will then straighten that up. And I think that would be a good way of doing that. There we go. And then the last red and yellow wire. There we go. And then that runs down there. Now these will be coming the other way, but at the moment it's just telling us to do that. So that is those all on like so. Okay, next we're going to be doing exactly the same. Let me go back. So what it's saying is it wants the longer wire on this end one here, but obviously we haven't got any long wires to do that. So I'll be interested to know actually in the comments if anyone's is different lengths or whether everyone's got the same. I'm sure they have, because I don't think they're going to just do a couple. And you know, I'm not sure how these are manufactured, whether there's someone in a factory measuring and cutting these, or whether it just, you know, they fly out of a machine, which I'm guessing they do. I don't know. So anyway, the next step is to do exactly the same again, but the next hole along, in the middle holes, we're going to be doing the red and blue wires. So I'm just going to load another MP screw up. Again, I'm going to do the crimp side down. And there we have it. And then again, run them down. I'm just out of the way for the moment. And then we're going to do that another twice. I'm getting the knack of this now. And then the last red and blue will go on this last one here. There we go, so that is those done. Okay, then the next step is to do exactly the same again, but obviously with the yellow and blue wire, and that'll go in the remaining hole. And then this is the last one. There we go. Okay, the next thing it wants us to do is arrange these wires. So they are now going to come down. I'm just here to get my screwdriver. They're going to go down like so, run down the tube and then out the back. So I'm going to do, let me just look at this diagram. Okay, so I think the best thing to do is pull these through, and then I'm going to start with the one on the outer edge, hold that in place, and that'll be bent underneath like that. Then the next wire. Now obviously it depends on how neat you are to how fussy you are with this cable arrangement. And then what is going to happen, it's going to look a little bit something like that with the wires, and that I guess they're going to go through these two holes here, because speculation, the tab will go across there. So we're going to do the same for all of these. So I'm going to start with the furthest one. And they've got like a, I don't know whether they're not made of wire as such. I think it's not like real wire. I think it's almost like well, you know, like you get those sandwich bags and you've got the wire, you know, you've got the ties that you can twist up. I think it's that sort of wire, because these are taking shape nicely. There we go. Now, that is how they go in. My OCD is kicking in, and I need to change this. Sorry, I'm sorry. I want to start with the rear one, and I want the rear the one. I'll say the rear. This one here, and you probably haven't seen any of that. I'm sorry. I'm going to zoom back out so you can see what I'm doing. Because I got carried away with my OCD-ness. So that's one. You know, making it neat is part of the fun. You know, you don't want to rush it and just to get it done. You know, take your time. There's no rush. Okay, so I'm now happy with that arrangement. I'm now then going to do the next one along, and you know, they are already in shape, the wires, from when I did it just now. So it's just a case of putting them on top of those ones. And then these last ones here. There we go, and I'm really happy with that. May need a bit more tinkering, but I think they're nice and neat. I'm happy with them. Okay, so obviously they're going to bend just over this edge here, and they're all going to go through those two holes there. And then with an AM screw, which are the last screws I have here, we're going to attach the cable clamp. Now what's going to happen is the screw is going to go into the hole nearest this inside corner here. So the locating pin is going to go in this far one here. And there we have it. and they are still a nice neat shape that I am happy with. There we go. Brilliant. Love that detail. Loving the detail. Okay, so once that part's complete, we need to push this cable 82A, sorry, in the hole, and there's a hole here, and you've got one blue end and then one silver and blue end with an angle, 45-degree angle piece there. It wants this to go in. It's a push fit. And that is a nice tight fit actually, so I'm happy with that. And it's sort of got it going at an angle like this. In fact, it needs to come around a bit more. So that it just passes the knobble on that middle silver connector there that they called it. Okay, and then the wire they've got just shown going round here, so that will connect to something later on. So there we have it. Okay, so yeah, that was it for issue 82. I hope my OCD and my preciseness and my fiddliness didn't bore you too much. But you know, I enjoy it. I like to have it nice. So yeah. If, as always, thank you if you're already subscribing. If you're not, please consider subscribing. Please like this page, like the video, and if you wish to buy me a coffee, the link is in the description below. So until next week, take care, and yeah, see you later.